Hey, what's up? This is the first time in a long time that I don't have lore content for you guys. Rather, something interesting and unexpected happened that I want to talk about. So I made this Reddit post on Sunday saying that I hit Master Tier in League, TFT, and Lore, right? I opened up this post as an AMA, which means Ask Me Anything, so that I could give insight on my habits and skill set, while also being able to give advice when needed. And to be honest, I didn't expect it to blow up like it did. I was prepared to have like 20 upvotes and 4 to 5 questions, but after a couple hours of posting, I was slammed with question after question, and it was a really cool experience for me. The day after I posted it, I checked and it was on the first page of the League subreddit, which is mind-boggling to me. That being said, I'm making this video now to highlight some of the questions I got, talk about what I learned from this as a whole, and opening it up to the comment section below as well. I'll talk specifically about each thing as we get to it, so for now, let's start with some of the highlights. I got lots of basic questions about my age, how to improve, and such, but I also got this one guy that asked, why don't you put this passion to use and contribute to society instead? And then he proceeded to get booty blasted by literally everyone on the subreddit. It was quite hilarious. Alright, so getting directly into the highlights. Shout out to this first guy who said, hey man, I don't have a question, but good job dude, and 160 people upvoted it. Feels good, man. Here was a good question. What is the common thing across League, Lore, and TFT when it comes to your way of getting better at the game? Because fundamentally these are 3 different games, and this is just a good question, like, oh, how do they compare, you know? How can you carry over your skills and, you know, how to get better at each one? Where would you recommend to start in terms of lore? I got this question a lot as well. How to start with lore? It feels like a lot of people want to play the game, but they're kind of intimidated by it, or just like don't want to break the initial learning curve and like, you know, download the game and play it. I responded with, learning from people that are already high elo. That's pretty much the best way to get better at a game, in my opinion. I think watching streams or informative YouTube videos helped me the most getting better at all the games. Specifically, I brought this up a lot actually, because a lot of people ask me like, you know, how did you get better? I learned TFT from Keen and Karomix every single night. I literally spammed their stream. Here's one that a lot of people liked. Which was the hardest, and any tips? So this is a Smurf question. I actually really like thinking about which is the hardest to climb in. And I said League for sure. It has the fiercest competition, and a lot of your wins and losses come from your teammates since it's a team game, right? So you can't really blame a lot of stuff on yourself because you have teammates that you can just, you know, push all of your bad plays aside, be like, oh, it's the team's fault. But in TFT and in Legends Runeterra, it is basically how you play the game, and the only thing that you can blame is RNG, but that can only go so far. There's always something that you can learn in TFT and Legends Runeterra where it's like, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that. I think it's a lot easier to improve at those games because you can just like look at a VOD and be like, oh, you know, if I had done this differently, if I had econ'd better in TFT, if I had not went for this unit, if I had scouted better, and in Legends Runeterra, if I used this card in this scenario, I should have played around their card that they have for this mana cost, right? And you can do like super obvious takeaways and it becomes a flowchart of how to get better. In League, it is so much more. There's so many layers to it because of game states, because of team, because of item power, because of like all these different factors, and you have to adapt on the fly to actually win and climb efficiently. You have to do it over and over and over. A game of League is actually way more complicated than people give it credit for. And the tip I gave is always consume content about the game. I think League is a knowledge-based game at the end of the day. Yes, mechanics and stuff are important, but I've always valued macro over micro and just knowledge, right? Having the right matchup experience, having the right matchup knowledge, knowing when to buy certain items, and that's especially important now in Season 11 coming up. So, watch pro guides, everyone. That's what I have to say about that. Alright, so here's my personal favorite question. Shout out to my boy Zarvi, who has duoed with me over the years and has taught me a lot about the game. He actually gave me the facts to give the answer that I did. So the question is, what percent of games in your estimate are won and lost by coin flip? Teammates, drafts, etc. How much of it can you blame your team, right? Because that's one of the big things that League players do is they push their stuff aside. They're like, it wasn't about me. My top laner did one thing wrong. He didn't push when he should have and we lost the game because of it. People want to immediately divert blame onto other things. So how much of it can you actually do that, right? So the way I've always mapped it out, and again, this does not come directly from me, this is something that I learned, 20% of games are unwinnable. Nothing you do is going to change that, right? So basically, your team is going to int, the enemy team is going to pop off, you're going to get an AFK, you're going to get a DC. It happens to everyone, we've all experienced it. This is going to happen about 20% of the time. Conversely though, here's the flip side of it, 20% of games are unlosable, you or your team pops off, right? There's a lot of times where you're playing jungle, you're 1-1 and 2 maybe, and your bot lane is just double killing over and over and over. You got Draven, Leona, they're literally popping off and there's nothing that the opponents are going to do. They're going to FF at 15 and you have done absolutely nothing to contribute to the win, right? 20% of games are like that as well. Those are feels good, take the free LP, thank you, goodbye. And here's the end of it. Here's the big part. There are 60% of games that you directly influence and your own performance determines the outcome. In games you lose, you could have done better, and in games that you win, it's because you played well enough to hit that quota. I cannot stress this enough. 60% of the time you should look and be like, okay, this game I impacted. I did not farm well enough to have the proper item spike at this fight, so we lost by just a smidgen. I was not there for dragon, so that's led to the enemies getting soul later down the road. There are things that you can look at and say, oh, I contributed to this. And this is a majority of the time. However, you can still have the little excuse, oh, this must be one of the 20%ers. I'll do better next game. I will focus on what I can improve on, right? That's the best way to look at it. That's the healthiest way to look at it. And I swear that's the best way to climb. I feel like a lot of League players need to hear this and understand it. Here's a little fun one that I like to read. What do you think about the difficulty curve in lore compared to League? Because they are vastly different games in my opinion, and this is reiterating a point that I said earlier a little bit, but it's still really fun to think about. This guy said, I personally feel like lore is a little easy until I got to Diamond Plus, where it got way harder. So there's like a skill or knowledge or just challenge discrepancy like between not Diamond Plus and Diamond Plus, which I actually think is true. I feel like I always climb really easily through Platinum in Legends of Runeterra, and then as soon as I hit Diamond, it's like, alright, this is the big boys. There's like a big difference between Plat and Diamond in that game, but in League of Legends, I think Plat 2 to Diamond 3 are all around the same skill level, and it's mostly about execution, team play, and grinding at the end of the day. And you don't really see a big skill discrepancy until D2+. But I responded in terms of Legends of Runeterra, once you get Diamond, it feels like a flowchart. Does the opponent have this? If yes, or you think they do, you play a certain way. If not, you play this card instead. And it's very flowcharty, right? It's a lot of if then, if this, then that. And it just, goes on till the game ends. Usually, opponents just literally have everything and you get high rolled. And yeah, that's Legends of Runeterra and card games in a nutshell. Oh, this one was quite enjoyable. He said, which is your favorite or most fun? I said League will always have a special place in my heart because admittedly, I've been playing that game since 3 months after it ended its beta. So since Season 1, I am literally a League boomer. I've had the most fun playing lore though. Definitely. It's the one I'm most passionate about. I love card games. I grew up playing Yu-Gi-Oh! I played casually Magic, I played Hearthstone competitively, and reached Legend multiple times. I absolutely adore card games, right? TFT is honorable mention during set 3, and then we had a little banter about me mech, and this is the funniest stuff I've ever seen in my life. Me mech, no scout, no pivot, you go mech, we go 7-8 holding hands. It was the best meme. Anyone who says set 3 wasn't the best set for TFT is just so wrong in my opinion. I love it so much. Could you please recommend some good learning resources for League? I said pro guides. No meme, I actually think pro guides is really good. I explained after hitting master, I watch their videos because I love their personalities, but also the information is super relevant to keeping up with meta shifts. It's also just like a really easy watch in bed. Their videos are like 10 to 15 minutes. You know, you're chilling on your phone. Oh, let me hit up this pro guides real quick. Oh, let's go. It's Dan, the voice actor of Ezreal. Teach me what's going on. What's new, buddy? You know, it's just like a fun time in my opinion. They've always been like super upbeat about the information, and I don't know. Maybe it's just me. But I mesh well with their content. And specifically though, if you are trying to focus on a singular champion, try to find a one trick in high elo that only plays that champion, and you can like watch their stuff, be very active in your thinking, watch what are they doing, why are they doing that, why did this person just roam, why are they choosing this item here, you know, stuff like that. And if you just try to get information out of it, you will be able to implement that into your own games. Trying to understand their thought process is probably the best thing you can do because it challenges yourself. Alright, and that's it for the highlights. I'll have a link to the Reddit thread in the comments below if you want to read through everything. There's a lot that I didn't cover. There's a lot of stuff for you to check out if you're interested. So let's get into what I learned. Well, the first thing I learned is that people are actually a lot more receptive than I thought they would be. Like I said, I was expecting only, you know, a couple upvotes, a couple questions, but this really blew up. I didn't think that my accomplishment was all that big until I take a step back and look at it. Like Master in League, TFT, and Rank 1 in Lore. There's not a lot of people, in fact there's a vast majority of people that can't even get Platinum or Diamond in one of those, right? And to be able to accomplish it in all three, like I understand now. So people were like, oh, this is something worthy of respect, I'm going to ask a question. And that was really cool to me because I haven't really experienced that. Other than that, I think what I could have done better is I could have cross-posted this. I actually don't know how Reddit works. I admit I'm a complete noob. I don't go on Reddit very often, so I think there's a way to like cross-post this with other subreddits. So I should have put this in the TFT one, I should have put it in the lore one, and then answer questions from all three. I think that's how it works. I could be completely wrong about that too. Admittedly, that's just how much I don't know. But I think it was really good to like spread the information. I have my links here, so a lot of people, you know, check me out. I got a couple followers. It was really fun, really awesome experience actually. My favorite thing to do in video games, and I think I have that somewhere in here, is I just love teaching. I love making content, you know, guides and stuff. It's always been one of my passions. I've single-handedly got people into League way back in the day, Season 2, Season 3, from the ground up, explained everything to them, watched them play. You know, I recently got one of my friends into Legends of Runeterra. I personally coached him like 6 to 8 hours a day for like a month straight, just because I enjoy doing that. I think it's something worth my time. It makes me feel good. I don't know what it is. It's just the teacher role, I guess. Along with putting the thread in the description, I also want to open this up to the comment section below for anyone who wants to ask another question that I didn't get to answer in the Reddit thread, or if, you know, it's just a question that someone didn't ask. I'll be checking on this video over the course of the next couple months. You know, I get the notifications. I'll answer any questions about like, oh, how do you feel about this now? Stuff like that. Just whatever. I'm pretty open, pretty transparent. Anything you guys want to know. With that, I'll be making another Legends of Runeterra video on Thursday, probably talking about the 3 decks that I want to bring into tournament. I had a great stream on the Monday of recording this video, and playing 3 decks in the Gauntlet, absolutely smashed the Gauntlet. I think I have this tournament ready as long as I maintain top 700 Masters, which I hope to do in the next week, and be able to play in the League of Legends sponsored tournament. And that's it for this one. Please like and subscribe if you thought this video was informative or entertaining. It really helps me out since I'm still trying to grow. I'll be releasing more deck profiles, guides, and gameplay highlights in the near future. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good one. Laters.